Well, hello, dear friends, and welcome to Story Time with Mr.Head. Hmm. This is my fourth story time for you, and probably my last video that I'll be doing because, yes, we are going back to school. Yeah! Alright, let's hear it for school. So, this week I'm going to take a step aside from the enormous crocodile which we've been enjoying for the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to save that for when we all get back together in the classroom. We're going to finish that together. Today I've chosen a book that ties in with our spelling words because we are learning how to recognise the long A sound this week, and next week we're going to have a quiz. We already know that the letter A followed by another letter sound with an E, a magic E at the end, makes a long A sound. Okay, the long A is the name of that letter. Okay, A. The letter A quite often in English makes the A sound. That's the short sound, A, as in map, bath. But today we want to look at when it stretches itself out and makes a longer sound. The same sound as its name, okay? A. Alright, so we know that the letter A followed by another letter sound and a magic E makes the long A sound, but there are two other popular ways to spell the long A sound. The first one is AI, and the second one is AY. Okay, so we need to have a look at all three of those, and your spelling words contain words that have each of those ways to spell the long A sound. Okay, so I've chosen a book which has plenty of words with the long A sound in them, and all of the different ways of spelling that long A sound are contained within this brilliant book. It's one of my faves. You might have spotted me reading it early on in one of my very early videos, and I was surprised to see you all. You interrupted my morning reading, in fact. I've chosen that book again. It is called The Snail and the Whale. Spot, or rather listen very closely for the long A sound there. The title of the book is The Snail and the Whale. Okay, two animals, each with a long A sound, spelled differently. Now, this book is by a famous children's author from England called Julia Donaldson, and she has put it together along with a German artist called Alex Scheffler. Okay, he is really, really good at drawing. So, you can see the picture on the front cover there. That is the whale, and if you look super closely right here, you can see a tiny little snail. So, once again, apart from learning your spelling words this week, I'm going to ask you to do a visualization. Okay, that super long word, using what you know about the world, which is stored up here inside those bubblegum brains of yours, plus what you can imagine. Okay, you've got to make a movie inside that mind of yours. Alright, so normally I would show you the pictures here, but because I want you to visualize what's happening in this story, I am going to leave out the pictures and just read the words to you. So listen carefully. You can pause the video here and go and get a piece of paper if you want to draw along with listening to the story, but you can also choose to listen first and then draw later. Okay? All right, I'll leave that up to you. So, key thing for your drawing today would be to include the main characters in the story. Okay, who's in it? Got a clue from the title, of course. And then I want you to choose one of the settings. This story goes to many different places, but I want you to choose one of the settings and then draw that in your picture, in your visualization also. Okay, so you need the characters and then pick one of the settings. Okay, excellent stuff. So, you ready? Listening ears, listening eyes, listening mouth, listening hands, and listening feet. Nice and still. Good. So, here we go. This is the tale of a tiny snail and a great big grey-blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. As she gazed, she sniffed and sighed. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock, and said to the snail with the itchy foot, Be quiet, don't wriggle, sit still, stay put. But the tiny sea snail sighed and sniffed, then cried, I've got it, I'll hitch a lift. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looped and curled and said, lift wanted around the world. This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright. A humpback whale immensely long who sang to the snail, a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starlit sea and said to the snail, Come sail with me. Right, off we go on a journey. I'm excited. This is the sea so wild and free that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far off lands. Could be one of your settings there. With fiery mountains and golden sands. Another possible setting for your visualization. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed. The tiny snail on the tail of the whale. These are the caves beneath the waves. We can go down under the sea for our visualization, where stripy fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam round the whale and the snail on his tail. This is the sky so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm with zigzag lightning, flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. Sound effects of the lightning there for you. And she gazed at the sky and the sea, the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by it all. And she said to the whale, I feel so small. I mean, she was pretty small. She felt even smaller. But then came the day the whale lost his way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. This is the tide slipping away, and this is the whale lying beached in a bay. Quick, off the sand back to sea, cried the snail. I can't move on land, I'm too big, moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then, I've got it, she cried, and started to crawl. I must not fail, said the tiny snail. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher, holding her chalk, telling the class, sit straight, don't talk. This is the board as black as soot, and this is the snail with the itchy foot. A snail, a snail! The teacher turns pale. Look, say the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, save the whale. These are the children running from school, fetching the fireman, digging a pool. At this point, when I read the story to baby Marnie, I like to make the sound of a fire engine. So I'm going to do that for you also. Nina, 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 Nina. You might want to include fire engines in your visualisation. Don't know, I'll leave it up to you. The firemen, they squirted and sprayed to keep the whale cool. This is the tide coming into the bay, and these are the villagers shouting, hooray! As the whale and the snail travel safely away. Could be a good one for a visualisation there. Back to the dock and the flock on the rock, who said, how time's flown, and haven't you grown? And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves, of how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the grey-blue humpback whale. And that is the end of the story, and what a fantastic story it is. So many long A sounds, such a brilliant tale of exploring the world and being curious and interested in what you can find out. And along the way, an animal so tiny can help a giant whale and save its life. And a beautiful friendship was born. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope you listened out for all the long A sounds. There are so many in there. And for adjectives that will help you in your visualization. Okay, those adjectives are there to describe those nouns. Okay, and they make the story come to life. So that movie, that colourful, vivid movie in your mind, I'd like you to draw a picture of that now. And once again, upload it into assignments, and I can check it out later on today. Alright, okay. Next story time is going to be live and in person in the classroom. I love you all. Alright, take care. Bye-bye.